Welcome to another episode, everyone. They finally admit that they and their people destroyed humanity. Certainly, you know who they are. Check this out.
The problem throughout history, it's us. We've just been brainwashed to think we're the good guys, but we're not. Who invades all the other countries? Who steals other people's lands? And no, I don't have self-loathing or collective guilt. It's just a realization that we've been brainwashed and the world's slowly waking up.
White people who look like you and me, we've allowed white supremacy to flourish in this country for generations and generations and generations, so long that people don't even recognize it, myself included sometimes, right? I had a moment just last weekend or just earlier this week in New Orleans where I was speaking with a guy on a trolley who grew up there. And he's like, well, you're from the South, right? I grew up in North Carolina. That is the South. You might want to fight me on that. It's not the deep South. He said, you know why everyone's so polite here? And I was like, I don't. And he was like, well, we had to be. He was like, everyone had to be polite to each other, especially black people to white people, because if we didn't address them properly, we would get killed. I make U.S. history content, and I didn't even think about that. I grew up in the South, and I didn't even think about that. That's how normalized every day white supremacy is in our country. And if the white people in this country don't decide that they're going to extricate the cancer that is white supremacy from themselves, from their homes, from their communities, from everything that they are surrounded with, we will be right back in this position 5 years from now, 10 years from now, however long it takes for the cycle to regenerate, because it will happen. Trump's not the problem. MAGA's not the problem. ICE isn't the problem. It's white supremacy. It's been white supremacy. It will be white supremacy. It's always been that. And if we don't work towards it to fix it now, then when? Oh, and by the way, if you're a white person watching this, guarantee you, when we get rid of white supremacy and the systemic white supremacy that kills people every day, every single one of us will be healthier. We'll all be wealthier. We'll have better access to food. We could even have walkable cities. We could have walkable cities, but that's white supremacy in action, right? The way we've designed our cities is white supremacy in action. So just think about where you want this country to be in 5 or 10 years. Think about how loud you want to be. You will lose people. That's okay. We'll have each other. Let's go for it.
Every economic...
Well, they want the country to be right where it's at because they benefit from the racism that plagues the country. They benefit from it, every single one of them, whether they know it or not. They may say, well, I'm poor. How do I benefit from it? Because that's, you hear that sort of talk sometimes. Well, that's just because you have not taken advantage of your privilege. That's just on you. and the truth is that the black man told her that they are so polite in the South because they had to be or lose their lives. But when will you take your pride back in your humanity? That's over. You show them and you tell them that's over. I mean, you still be polite, but not overbearingly so. And in the way that you were back then, deferential, with the threat of murder. You don't have that threat over your head anymore. You still do in some of these places, of course, but you just have to fight back. Again, still be respectful. But when will you take back your power? Black man?
Problem that we're facing in this country right now, student loan debt being just out of control, the government shutdown, SNAP benefits being cut, health insurance premiums about to go through the roof, your rent going up, your pay stagnating, groceries just being astronomical, is because reparations were never paid after the Civil War. Let me explain. After the Civil War, the Union, the North won and the South was defeated, but the South was never punished. The Confederacy lived on in the ideology of the people, of the white people of the South. Reparations were never paid to Black Americans. They were never really, truly given the opportunity to pick themselves up by their bootstraps to rise up and become equal members of this country, equal citizens. They've been fighting for their equality since then. They've never actually truly achieved it. So when white people hear a promise from Donald Trump et al. That we're going to run the country like a business, to them that sounds appealing. They're like, oh yeah, because you know what? I'm a business owner. I own this country because I'm white. When black and brown people hear, well, we're going to run the country, run the government like a business, they understand what that means because they've been dealing with it for centuries. White people think that they are on the side of the owners, the masters, but they're not. Most white people have more in common with the black and brown people that they look down upon. They are closer to them in the economic tax bracket than they are to the white billionaires whose asses they kiss. But listen to them glazing billionaires, especially on this app. I make $50,000 a year, but I have more in common with Jeff Bezos than I do with George Floyd. Bullshit! The only reason the lie of let's run this country like a business appealed to you is because you thought you would benefit. And now here you are. Now here you are understanding that when they say we're going to run this country like a business, that means they're going to profit off of your ass. That means that if you take $100,000 loan out to go to college, you will be in debt to the federal government until the day you fucking die. You borrowed 100 grand, prepare to repay 300 grand because they're running the government like a business now. And guess what? You're a customer, not an owner. The government exists to serve us, not to profit off of us. And we will continue to have these problems until y'all get your fucking minds right.
Here's another thing white people like to do. I'm gonna tell you something white people like to say when they become woke.
Yeah, and that's very true. For the most part, they do not benefit from Trump being in office. They do not even benefit from W supremacy. It was not designed to cater to every white person, just to get the rich richer. And they have convinced these people who have more in common with us, who are poor just like us, that they are better than us. Fred Hampton was fighting to end this. People have it mixed up and think that he was just a revolutionary, but he was bringing poor whites together and every other ethnicity along with the blacks. It was a class system and a class fight. Rich versus the freaking poor.
Humans really could have had a beautiful little existence on this earth, just creating art and eating fruit. Instead, we have credit scores and taxes. Humans were having a beautiful life.
Yeah.
Creating art.
Yeah.
Creating society. Creating structures.
Right.
Eating fruit.
Yeah.
Eating off the land. Great agricultural practices.
Right.
We was doing all that.
Yeah.
Until white people came along.
Right.
And who the fuck came up with the idea for credit scores and taxes if it wasn't a cracker? Mm-hmm. White people, y'all gotta stop saying humans and start saying white people. Because the humans was doing that. Mm-hmm. And then they came upon
white people.
They came upon
White people.
the humans was out here eating fruit, dancing. Huh? Reading the stories in the skies.
Yeah.
Huh? Telling folk tales to our children.
Building structure.
Maybe have a little scuffle with a little faction over there over some resource. Maybe a little scuffle.
Minding our business.
Hey man, this our side of the river. You know what I'm saying? Y'all fish over there. You know what I'm saying? If y'all done fished it dry, oh fucking well, bitch. But don't come over here and do we gotta go to what? I got the face paint ready, bitch.
Ready.
You know what I'm saying? Little village scuffles.
Right.
No credit scores, no jails. Then the boat pull up, and who get off the boat, Big Cat?
White people.
White people get off the boat, and then they start talking about loans and taxes and owning land and property and all this different shit. And then what do they bring with them? Diseases, nigga. I don't want this idea to keep floating around like white people was just out here just conquering the goddamn earth by the rule of their goddamn iron fist. No, nigga, y'all was getting people sick everywhere y'all went because y'all are dirty and unsanitized, and y'all still are. It's in your genes, baby. Y'all wasn't thinking about eating no goddamn fruit and doing no art. Y'all was thinking of new ways to subjugate niggas. Steal their art, put it in museums, and charge niggas to view it. Oh, they always want to think, man, we could be doing so much more, and always leave out the part if it wasn't for us. We ruined the human way of life.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, and you know, if we want to go back to the class thing, a lot of times it's not that every single white person came with the idea, is that all of y'all were complicit and participated because it benefited you. Therefore, you have to be held accountable.
White people, especially white men, talk about accountability. It rubs me the wrong way. And when it comes to politics specifically, it becomes so obvious to me why that is. And it's because it's always someone else's fault. Always. Even if a white man did it, it's somebody else's fault. It's the foreigners, it's the Islamists, it's the feminism, it's the DEI, it's the transgenders, it's the gays, it's drag queens, it's thugs. It's everyone but white people. It's everyone but white men. And if there's no way around it, it becomes individualized.
Right. Absolutely. Always everyone else's fault. Like to say that black people like to play the victim and claim to be a victim every time we speak out against being freaking murdered or something. They say we speak out against anything. They say we playing some sort of victim, but they never take collective accountability. They don't take accountability for anything. They don't admit their wrongs. They don't admit their guilts whatsoever. They justify it and they ascribe blame and place the blame constantly somewhere else, just like she just said. It's some other group that's the cause of the country being where it's at, or the cause of their headache and their problem, one way or another. And as she just said, even when a white man does do something, he may be lightly criticized for it here in this country, they're going to individualize it. They're going to say that he just had a bad day. I remember a white man went out and killed 4 or 5 Asian women or something some years back. And the police chief or something got on there and said he was having a bad day. Damn. I say he killed 5 women. And that's all you can say is that he was having a bad day. Not that he's a thug. Not that he's a threat to society. We had to keep these thugs away from the street, lock them up and throw away the key. Should have never been out anyway. You know, there's none of this. Even the situation with Charlie Kirk, the dude that shot him in the neck and blew his neck off. A white man, white on white crime. The individual there, the politician, mayor, or whatever, got on the podium and said that he wished it were someone else that had done it instead of the individual that did it. He was hoping it was a black man. And then they just want to individualize it and say that he has some sort of mental problems, or it's the way that he grew up, or what have you. He needs help. But whenever it's a black man that gets locked up for anything that's violent, it's just our criminalistic nature. It's ingrained and embedded in us to be violent. Let them tell it. The most violent people on the face of the earth in the history of the earth has convinced the earth that we are the most violent. It's really inexplicable.
White people are so opposed to collective accountability, but they love collective projection of blame. And that's what you're seeing right now in America as well, because America loves it. America loves it. We love to blame a minority in the West. Doesn't matter how many of us were abused and raped and whatever by the white man. It's the foreign man who's the danger.
And I tell you what, nothing makes racist white...
The foreign man who's the danger. But it's not the foreign man who's shooting up all the schools and killing little kids. It's not the black man who's busting down school doors, schools, churches, grocery stores. I haven't heard of a black man yet going inside of a grocery store full of people, opening fire and killing 20 people just because he was having a bad day. We're so hated, so despised, we're so thuggish and all of this, but we're not threatening anyone. The biggest threat to another black man is a black man. We're threatening one another. We're taking one another's lives. It has nothing to do with anyone else, foolishly. But still, they find a way to despise us. But it's not the black man that is kicking in the door of these schools when your child is in there at 7 years old, 8 years old, 9 years old, 5 years old, 10 years old, 14 years old, trying to get an education, and you just dropped him or her off. And someone kicks down a school door and comes in with an automatic rifle and cuts them down. Little children. It's not us dropping bombs on Hiroshima or sickening Japanese women by the millions and killing them. The people who do that, you still love and want proximity to. But the people who made it possible for you to even be in this country, from our blood, sweat, and tears, it was the civil rights movement that made it possible for all of these other ethnicities, Hispanics, Japanese, Asians, to be over here in this country. It was us. Make no mistake about it. The people who they despise are the ones responsible for them even being over here, and they don't like you either. The sooner you understand that, the better off you will be. We don't give a damn what you think about us. We gonna be all right. It's been us against everyone from day one.
People more pissed off than me, a white person, trying to educate about racism and trying to educate about what white privilege is and all these things. And it's so funny because these same people will argue with me till they are blue in the face about how they're not racist and we don't live in a racist institution and black and brown people have it so easy and racism doesn't exist anymore. But then they will turn around and say the most racist, ignorant, vile shit you've ever heard in your life. The disconnect is amazing. And this is why I make content like this, because it's so important, because we do live in a racist institution and we are all raised in racism as white people. This is simply a fact. And the crazy part about it is every one of us knows this. Even the ones who will sit there and fight with me to the death about it and act like it doesn't exist. Y'all know white people are racist. Y'all know about the casual racism, the casual microaggressions that we are raised in, no matter where we live in this United States of America. And this is why I will never stop. I will never stop trying to educate as a white person about racism and how we need to learn. We need to evolve. We need to do better. It's almost as if they feel like admitting to a racist institution or admitting to racism makes them this evil, terrible person. And so they would rather double down than to grow and be a good person. And that's so bad, because all that says to me is that you have a small mind and a cowardly soul. And I wish better for you than that, truly, because everything in your life will get better when you stop being so ignorant.
Why do you think white people get almost double angry with white people who speak out?
Because I believe that the most threatening thing to a white supremacist is not a person of color, it's a white person who disagrees with them. Because white people listen to white people instinctively more than they listen to people of other races. And I think that is true of all different kinds of intersections. Men listen to men easily in a way they don't listen to women. Straight people listen to other straight people in a way instantly that they don't listen to queer people.
So you think it's a power thing?
I think that if somebody has an agenda of trying to create a world in which black people are lesser or black people like this, for white people to all agree with them with, the most threatening thing to them is a white person who goes, "You're wrong." Because that white person could make other white people think, oh, maybe he is wrong. Maybe black people aren't actually like this. Maybe it's not like that. Yeah. Some of them aren't doing a project for trying to convince everybody that black people are worse. Some of them just have deep-seated, unacknowledged racism within themselves. They conceive of races as teams. My team is the white team. Dan, you're white, you're on my team.
Automatically.
And teams compete in sport.
Yeah.
So you need, as a white person, Dan, on the white team, we need to be working together to look after our team. If you say anything that criticizes white people, you are harming the white team's attempt to win, and you are strengthening another team's attempt to win. That is a fundamentally, subliminally racist conception of how race should be most important in the way that you build power and protect community.
I'm a racist.
Well, yes. Well, really? Shocking. She said, she came on and said, I'm a racist. Shocking. Well, and they absolutely view it as a team, and anyone speaking out against racism, they see as a traitor, a traitor, someone who should not be welcomed back in their community, an in-lover, if you will, or whatever else, a foreigner lover for that matter, but more than likely an in-lover. Because, again, they see this as perhaps potentially weakening their team and, as he just alluded to, strengthening the other team. They want to keep us held down with their foots on our necks. But we don't have to accept that.
Trying not to be, trying to deconstruct that. I have been working on it for about 15 years.
15?
And another creator on here that.
What the hell? She said that she's a racist. Self-admitted, at least she admitted it. Okay, yeah, I'm fine. And that she's working on it. She says she can admit that, that she is, but that she's working on it. And so apparently she doesn't want to be. And then went on to say that she's been working on it for the past 15 years. Man, damn. What the hell? So how long is it going to take? So I take it that whole 15 years you still been racist. As you're working on it, my people are still suffering. As you're working on it, you're still walking around calling us the N-word and all of this, and thinking about us a certain way, treating us a certain way for the past 15 years. Well, before 15 years. She's been working on it for 15 years. She's been this way for however long. Started working on it, on changing it 15 years ago. After being that way for 15 years, 20 years, 30 years, whatever. So she's been this way for a long time and has been trying to change her ways for the last 15 years. How does it take 15 years not to be a racist? It takes 15 seconds to decide that if that's what you were, even if it was learned and even if it was taught to you and it wasn't overnight that it was taught to you, you have to unpack these things and unthink these things and unlearn these things that you've learned in society about discriminating against other people. Whatever. You're grown. It's real simple. What I was taught was wrong. I'm grown. I recognize every human being as a human being. I won't prejudge anyone. I will not think that I'm superior to anyone. And I will treat everyone equally. That's it. Damn what I was told or taught from yesterday previous. From today on, this is what I'm doing. It's just that simple. How does it take you 15 years to undo this? And you're still working on it. You're going to take another 15? How old are you? You're going to die a racist. How old are you? How much time you think you got left to figure this thing out, to do this? Sheesh.
I follow named Brandy, I will tag her in this, did a video, I think it was a couple of days ago, about what white women's role in the anti-racist movement is, and how we need to be looking in the mirror and not be going around pointing our fingers at what everybody else is doing and like being the hall monitors of the world. And it really struck a chord with me because I feel like I've kind of been doing that, and maybe I need to stop. Like, I make videos about deconstructing, I talk about my experience, but I also try to reach people where they are and have them push back on their own narratives and think about where these ideas come from and like what the racism in their own lives looks like. And I know I still have work to do on myself. I want to be part of the solution, so I want to help other people deconstruct and get through it, but I haven't even gotten all the way through it myself. I feel like it's a continuous journey. She gave some specific examples of microaggressions, and I feel like I still have some of those, like using terms that are based in racism and not even realizing it or not putting in the work to stop using them. So that's something I'm going to work on, is not using phrases that are based in slavery or racism, just trying to be more aware of that. She also suggested a few books. I'm going to get one of them. I'm going to put the list up on the screen here. And if you're so inclined to tell me which one you think is the best one to start with, then please.
I mean, you don't need a bunch of books. I respect the fact that she says she wants to change and she's speaking about it on camera, whatever platform she was on there. She doesn't have to say that much or admit that much or say that she's even working on it or whatever. That's fine. I just don't understand how come it's so complicated. What sort of phrases and terms are you using that derive from slavery? She says she wants to stop using terminology and things that, where she has a certain perception of black people. I'm sure it is. Then just stop it. Like, what terms are coming from slavery? Y'all said it so long ago. What terms are you using from slavery when you say you've been working on this for 15 years? Just give it up. Just stay where you're at. That's all right. I don't care. We don't need you. That's all right. Thank you. We appreciate you trying, but just keep thinking how you thinking. Fuck that. If it's going to take you 15 years and you still using slavery terms and all of this, man, no, you disrespecting me and my people. I'm different. Other black people are going to say, give her a break, man. At least she's trying. That's just how black people are. That's not how I am. Stay who you are. It's too late. 15 years. Get out of here.
If not, that's cool. I will figure it out. I'm going to still make videos and show that journey. And hopefully people will resonate with that and will come along with me and think through some of these things with me. Brandy really made me think about really trying to do more work on myself because I still participate in racism. Even though I don't have that in my heart anymore, I'm still participating in a system that is racist. But I know that there are more ways to push against that and not participate. So that's what I'm going to work on.
Recently, I saw a post on here that said, "What's a mispronunciation that pisses you off?" And the number of white people in the comments who just mentioned some form of AAVE, which is African American Vernacular English, by the way, or they would say, "I hate any form of Ebonics," or anything like that. That gives the wrong impression that AAVE is like a wrong English or like an incorrect English. AAVE developed from a mixture of like creolized English, different African languages, and then brand new words and phrases and forms of speaking that Black people had to develop during slavery or segregation, mixed with different dialects of English. So like Southern dialects of English, for example. All of that mixed together created AAVE. And it has its own rules that follow similar forms of speaking to certain African languages. So it's not like incorrect English. It's like its own form of English. For example, the zero.
We don't have to explain anything to these people, man. We don't give a damn what they think. Think what you want to think. You took our language from us and they're going to tell us what kind of language to speak. We had our own language. We had it. You took it. You didn't want us to have it. And now you have a problem with how we speak our language and our culture to our people. The obsession with black people needs to be studied. It's unreal. In this entire world, I mean everyone, the obsession with black people, we live rent-free in these people's heads. It's scary. Not in a physical way either. Just, like it's spooky, freaky. Why are you so worried about me? You hate me so, you hate us so much. Why are you looking at me when I walk down the street? What's up with you? Tell your wives to stop looking at us. Hate us so much. There you have it. They admitted their kind destroyed humanity. Some of them admitted it. Some of them still making excuses about everything. You know how I go. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'm going to leave it there because if not, I'm going to end up saying some other stuff. It's just my way. Stay safe and stay free. People.